Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, bringing you the next part in this God of War 3 Chaos Difficulty video walkthrough. And now that we've killed Hades, we are going to be hopefully exiting the Underworld. So let's check this out. So now it's introducing the mechanic of the Soul Summon, which is the weapon that we got from Hades. And as I mentioned on the last video, it basically enables you to do that. Send out a nice little Cerberus. So right now you have unlimited magic in this area, so you might as well use it. And as you can see, I'm just going to be spamming it because I don't want to lose any life on this encounter. It's not a challenging fight in any way, so it's just a case of introducing a mechanic and giving you a couple of dudes to beat on. There you go, good night, good night. And at this moment in time we have full life, full magic, and a full Rage of Sparta thing. So, pretty much set up for any fight that they're going to throw at us in these next sections. And it's always good to be stacked with your Rage of Sparta, because if you get to a fight that you're struggling with, even though for instance on my video, if you're watching it, I do it in record time and it doesn't look that challenging, but you're struggling for whatever reason, it's always good to have that to back up on. Because I'm probably going to be in a similar situation where there's a fight you might not have had any trouble with and I struggle a little bit with it and need to use it, because it's just one of those things where when you play a game everybody seems to have that moment that fucks them off more than any other moment, and usually maybe 7 times out of 10 when you tell it to one of your mates they didn't have any problem in that section, and doesn't it just piss you off? That's the most frustrating thing ever, that where you were stuck for like 20 like deaths, 2 hours or something silly, and then your mate's like, oh, I did that dead easy, proper good, and you just like, ah, it were awful, hated every moment of it. But anyhow, once again we're speaking to Hephaestus, and always make use of the save points. And we can't go up there just yet because we don't have the lovely shoes that we get from Hermes, but we'll get that in no time. And it's just a case at this moment in time I know there's 2 directions I can go, and I'm making sure that I haven't missed any of the cheeky chests that this game loves to hide behind the camera basically. So that's why I'm having a little run around. So I'll just cruise down here and see what we've got. Back to the rotating room. And the last time we were in the rotating room we rotated it without any trouble. This time there's going to be a fight. And it's these stone guys again, and they fight the exact same way they did before. Every move they do is very, very blockable. They are stunnable, and it's just a case of fighting them how you're comfortable. And for me that translates into I go Rocky Balboa on their ass and I stay in their face and we smack the tits off of each other. And the reason for this is because all you really have to watch is the 2 dudes and for when they're going to swing, because you can block everything and it's just square 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 block, square 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 block, and just make sure you don't get hit because they do a ton of damage. Once you've killed one though, you'll notice that these Cerberus pups have just spawned. So the best thing to do with them arseholes is to throw them, because when you go into the throw animation you are invulnerable. But I'm using a bit of magic because I'm stocked up on it and I don't want to die on this fight because of bullshit little dogs. And the reason why it is easy to fuck up on this section is because when you press circle to grab the dogs, for some reason the lock-on in this game is just awful. And I can't remember ever having a problem with the lock-on in God of War 1 or 2, but in this game you press circle and even if you're looking at the thing you want to grab, pushing the analog towards the thing you want to grab, Kratos just fucking flails his arms to completely wrong direction. It's really weird. So just be really aware of that, because the amount of times when I've needed to do one of the execution moves like that, when the circle comes above like a Minotaur's head for instance, and I've gone to press circle and I've grabbed something that's had armor, it's knocked me back and then killed me with a cheap shot, because this game is bullshit. But it isn't. The game isn't bullshit, the lock-on's bullshit. So once you've killed those dudes, rotate this around. And I think this is one of the avenues that leads to the corner full of pups, where you can get a ton of red orbs, because there's a shit ton of them. There's a little hive, look at them. Loads of the buggers. And for this bit, you could just keep spamming the grab because it's in such close proximity that you're gonna grab something, even if it's not the one you wanted. And they generally take 1 to 2 kicks and then you'll snap the neck. Obviously if you kick them into the other dogs, that's gonna speed the process up significantly. But these dogs can grab you, and when you're grabbed, the other dogs can hurt you, so just be careful of that kind of bullshit. And just kick these dudes. And that kicking never really gets old. It doesn't quite feel as amusing as it was on God of War 2, because I literally used to giggle every time I kicked a dog. And I know that sounds awful, but it's just so funny, just grabbing it and giving it some bite. Or boot, which is a translation for anybody that doesn't come from the part of Yorkshire that I live in. So once you've done that, this is not the way to go, it's just a place for a couple of orbs and a couple of dogs to kill. Run back into this room and continue rotating the lever. And then when you get it to the next section, you can run through onto the next section of the game. And a little update as well as far as the PS3 goes. Anybody that's seen my channel will notice this is the only PS3 guide I've done. The reason for this is because A, I had to buy a device to enable me to record the PS3, and B, because I own 5 games and I've had my PS3 nearly 2 years, which just goes to show my opinion of Sony's titles for their console basically. And it's not, I'm not saying this to make anybody angry who really likes Sony. I had PS2, I had 3 PS2s because my PS2's broke. I'm a gamer, I will buy any console, so it's nothing to do with the console wars because I think that's ridiculous. The only good thing about the console wars is it forces both of the developers to make better things because it's a competition, and it pushes them to strive to get that one step ahead of each other, and it makes the games better. But my problem with the PS3 is there's no fucking games. And I mean, let me explain that first of all. There are a lot of games on PS3, but there aren't many exclusives. The exclusives that they do have are pretty good. And it's because of this lack of unique titles to the PS3 that mine gets so neglected. The only games I actually own for it are Resistance 1 and 2, because I love Resistance games. Fucking love them. Metal Gear Solid 4, because I'm a massive Metal Gear Solid fan. God of War 3. And Killzone 2. And I haven't tried any of the other stuff like your Little Big Planets and your stuff like that, purely because that isn't my kind of game. I'm an old school gamer. I like to hold a pad and I like to play a game that's been designed well. I don't want to make games unless I'm using a piece of game making software, so on and so forth. So a lot of the allure of the PS3 is literally being the games I enjoy, the nostalgia games, because they have some cool series that Sony's have the rights to, and the fact that the online is free, which is fantastic. But at the same time, the reason the online is free is because Sony haven't really done online for that long, so the service itself does look pretty weak compared to your Xbox Lives. But it's free, which makes it amazing, and they also get dedicated servers, which is something that I think is brilliant. And why the fuck Microsoft don't get their ass out, I don't know. But this is not about the consoles, this is about the games. And what I'm trying to say is, I hated Killzone 2. I loved Killzone 1. Killzone 1 were one of my favourite first-person shooters on the PS2. I thought it was brilliant. Me and a couple of my mates, we used to play against the bots all day long. Used to love it. And then I got Killzone 2, and it was the most beautiful piece of shit I have ever played in my life. The game was sluggish, the aiming was broken, it controlled like you were moving a fucking fridge. I just didn't enjoy it. And this is not to incite people to be like, oh, Killzone 2 was a flagship for the PS3, it was the best looking game ever, it showed fucking Bill Gates, he's a dickhead. I'm not trying to make that argument, I'm just trying to say, I personally thought it was a piece of shit. And I didn't even beat it because I hated it that much. And I got the Killzone 3 beta because I'd watched a bit of gameplay of it, and I'd been meaning to get it, and I got it the other night, and I had a couple of games on it, and I'm really impressed. And for somebody that hated Killzone 2 so much, yet loved Killzone 1, it's a big thing. And the weighted feeling is definitely still there. You still do feel kind of weighted, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it does give it a very unique flavour. But the aiming works. They fixed the aiming. And not only have they fixed the aiming, but the online, you're killing in 2 to 5 bullets with the weapons. Sometimes a 1 bullet kills. and I love that to fucking bits. So I'm pretty much definitely going to be doing a Killzone 3 Elite difficulty video walkthrough. The only thing that will stop me is if when I get the game or when I rent it, I shoot an enemy on the hardest difficulty in the head 3 times and he's still got his fucking helmet on and his eyes are glowing at me. I'm just going to turn it off, because that's what Killzone 2 was, and I hate it. But this is the end of this video, and y'all guys take care.